Hi everyone, so this is my first video of this kind of video for me, so let me know what you think at the end. But this is called the quick fix, where I review a device in a short amount of time, telling you the basics that you would want to know from a device. And if you want to have a longer review, that will be added to my channel later as well. So let's get started with this quick fix, starting with the HTC U12 Plus. So the HTC U12 Plus is a great looking device honestly, and I think it's their best attempt yet when it comes to its design, with a smooth and symmetric look. And with three color options, being a solar red, this black, and of course that translucent blue that honestly looks really good. So let's start at the back, where we have this dual camera setup, with the main camera having a 12 megapixel sensor with a f1.8 aperture and optical image stabilization. The second one is a 60 megapixel sensor with a telephoto lens, and it has a f2.6 aperture without optical image stabilization. The camera is actually really good. Pictures in general are sharp and clear with a good dynamic range, but it does tend to have a bit more contrast compared to my S9 Plus. In low light the camera performs great as well, but you will notice that there is a bit more processing going on, with pictures becoming maybe a bit too sharp. But overall the colors are still retained well and it doesn't look too warm. Now in daily use the phone performs well, with the battery life lasting me through the day, but nothing really more, though it does have a great standby time. HTC as always has their own skin on top of Android and it works smooth. Of course, like before, we have this squeeze function that allows you for instance to start the camera app or Google Assistant. There is however one feature that I feel like is really clever. Tap twice on the side and it will go to the one-handed mode. However, what is not that clever are these so-called buttons, because they are not normal buttons. They are my least favorite feature on this phone. For one, the feeling just isn't there with only having the vibrator motor to give you any sense that you are actually pressing something. But in response, it is also not as fast as normal, and more often than not when I'm trying to press the volume button several times, it just doesn't work that well with trying to adjust the volume for instance. It also got me stuck in a loop a few times where I'm not sure if it is because of the squeezing function or because of the buttons. But for the life of me I couldn't turn off the display. Basically none of the buttons really worked, neither the volume button or the power button, and the squeeze function was more sensitive somehow. Other than that, we have an IP68 rating, which is a welcome feature on any phone. At the front we have a 6-inch display with a resolution of 2880 by 1440 with an 18:9 ratio. While the display is fine, it isn't the brightest you can get, and sometimes it's a bit harder to see in direct sunlight. In terms of specs, we are of course dealing with the latest Snapdragon, meaning the Snapdragon 845 combined with 6GB of RAM, 64GB of internal memory or 128, which you can expand via microSD up to 512GB, or use it as a dual SIM. Overall, the HTC U12 Plus is a well-built phone that feels good for a glass-back phone. However, it is not the easiest to repair, see jerry-rig everything, but it has one major problem, actually two, with one being the buttons and the second the lack of a headphone jack. Though you do get a pretty decent headset with the phone, but honestly that is not a fix. If this phone had a headphone jack and normal buttons, this would be a really good sell. But if you compare it to phones around the same price, being around 800 euros, this just doesn't work well for me, and that is down to those problems that I talked about before. I think the HTC U12 Plus is a step in the right direction though, but somehow HTC always seems to find the way to shoot themselves in the foot, meaning the buttons. If I can give HTC one tip, it would be to be your own brand, to not try and follow others, meaning bringing back the days of the HTC M7, because then you become something different instead of another option. Anyway, let me know what you think of this kind of review. I will keep making normal reviews of course, but this is for those who want their answers quickly. Of course, don't forget to like if you liked and subscribe if you enjoy my content. And don't be a stranger in the comment section telling me what you think of this phone. Have a good one and talk to you guys in the next